Alright, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the channel, and today we're going to be talking about some of the Assassin's Creed leaks. These have started. There are a few that have already been shown, but I never really made a video talking about them because, to be honest with you, I'm not super excited about this product. It's one of those March of the Machine Aftermath style products. They're actually going to be called something different. I don't think they're actually called epilogue boosters. I forget what the actual term is, but it's pretty much just a fancier way of saying the same thing. But it's a Universes Beyond set, so obviously there is going to be some intrigue amongst people for, you know, fans of Assassin's Creed. And as someone who plays primarily Commander, a lot of these cards are, you know, some of them at least likely going to have an impact on the format. So I figured it's worth it to kind of go through and cover them. But this will be a little bit more casual than the usual video where I go through and do a thorough breakdown of each thing, just because, I mean, I don't even know how I really feel about this set. I definitely like Universes Beyond as a product. I think it's cool. I know some people think it gets away from the spirit of what Magic is, and I don't know, maybe that's another topic for another day. But this is a neat enough product. I just think that it's probably not for me. I won't be going heavy in the set, but that's not to say that there aren't some decent singles that that may be there. So let's take a look at a little bit of what's here. If you guys do enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and then click the bell icon if you want to stay notified for more videos. I am going to be doing a follow-up video to my Modern Horizons 3 pricing video. There was some interesting feedback on that, and we've also got a lot of movement on the market to follow up on, so there will be a good bit of follow-up on that in the coming days, so just stay tuned there. Alright, so if you guys aren't familiar with how this Assassin's Creed set is going to be laid out, I can't blame you, because I wasn't 100% sure either. I did have to look into it. Like I said, it is going to be different than the actual, you know, usual what we see as like Commander decks and then Collector boosters. There will be Collector boosters for this, but I think they're going to be very similar to the way the Aftermath boosters were, actually, where it's like not your full 15 cards. Hopefully that doesn't come with a price increase, although it is a licensed, you know, product, so it wouldn't shock me if it did. Beyond boosters are what they're called. So these are, again, these are the same thing, right? Like, we can all acknowledge that Beyond boosters are absolutely the same thing as Epilogue boosters, just retitled. This does have a bundle as well with a special alt art promo, and there is a starter kit. I suppose the starter kit being there is kind of cool, because at least then for people who don't, you know, who don't know how to play, or maybe want to get into Magic because of that, could utilize that, and that's kind of neat. So looking at the actual thing here on Amazon, it looks like it's 7 card packs, 24 per box, so $132 feels very high for this, but I don't know, again, maybe I'm underestimating the actual appeal that Assassin's Creed is going to have. So it's going to have 7 cards per pack and 1 to 4 cards of rarity, rare or higher. And there's also going to be foil and borderless cards in every pack. There are also like guaranteed borderless. So it's got a bit going on. Obviously, this is going to be constructed similarly to the Aftermath boosters, though, where, you know, I think every card can come in multiple different things. You'll probably end up pulling duplicates. Just because of the way that they're constructed. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty confident that's how that's going to go. So one of the things about it is kind of cool, though, is there are like historical figure cards that are going to be serialized, and I think that's at least interesting from a collectible standpoint. You see Leonardo da Vinci on the screen here, and I think the serialized cards may actually be in other languages based on this preview, so I don't know how exactly that's going to break down, because we obviously know that the cards themselves are going to have, you know, regular English variants, but I think it's possible the serialized cards may be in different languages, so maybe as spoilers continue, we'll get a little bit more confirmation on that, or it may already be out there. If it's out there and I'm just missing it, then by all means let me know. Well, let's look at a few of the cards here. Leonardo da Vinci is a 2 blue legendary human artificer with 3 blue. Until end of turn, Thopters you control have base power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand, and then 2 and a blue, tap, draw a card, then discard a card. If the discarded card was an artifact, exile it, then create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 0/2 Thopter with flying in addition to its other types. So it's actually a really cool card from a design perspective. It obviously feels like it fits right in with the Urza artifact commander decks. You know, it's gonna cost a lot of mana to get these effects going off, but if you're kind of getting a mana base built up stronger, I suppose there are ways to do it. I do like the idea of being able to, you know, kind of cheat an artifact out that is much less costly than it would be to do otherwise, so we have that going for it. It's not a bad card or anything. It doesn't feel super Magic the Gathering-y, but I understand what they're going for, and some of these other cards actually feel like they do fit in a little bit more. I think there's going to be people who are like big fans of history that'll be happy to have these, so I'm happy that that's an option. But it's good to see that the card itself is actually pretty strong, and it should be interesting to see if it has any type of impact, because there's a lot of combo potential here, and I like giving Thopters a little bit more love. I think that's kind of cool. The Animus is a 2-drop legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target legendary creature from your grave with a memory counter on it. Then you can tap until end of your next turn. Target legendary creature you control becomes a copy of target creature card in exile with a memory counter. Activate only as a sorcery. I like this. It's pretty clear. You kind of see what's going on there. Being able to maybe... I don't know too much about the Assassin's Creed lore, I should say, so I'm guessing that this probably has some video game tie-ins and they're trying to be thematically accurate. It's not bad. There's definitely, kind of combos you can do here. I should tell you guys, I'm looking at a lot of this stuff for the first time. Aside from opening the tabs, I kind of went into this blind to give you a bit more of an unbiased review. But it's not bad. I don't know off the top of my head what the combos are going to be, but I would guarantee that people have already started brainstorming ways to utilize this. And for a low-cost ability to make copies of legendary creatures, you can see sort of right off the bat all of the combo potential that you have there. So it's neat, for sure. Sword of Feast and Famine is actually a reprint in here, which is a really, really strong reprint. This card is like $40 at the cheapest, and it's an extremely good card. I do think it also does have a nice borderless variant that isn't super Assassin's Creed-y. So, like, what I mean by that is, like, if you're not a fan of Universes Beyond, but you want a reprint of the card, this looks like it would fit right in with some of the borderlesses we've seen in Double Masters and other things like that. So there's some variation there for people. And of course, we do have the foil etched. And like I said, I think everything is going to be attainable in every rarity, so we'll see how that works. But obviously I think Sword of Feast and Famine will probably be one of the big carriers behind this set because of just its overall usefulness in pretty much any format. Temporal Trespass, another really strong card. It's a turn skip card, but it has Delve, so each card you exile from your graveyard while casting it pays for 1, take an extra turn, then exile it. If you're playing a deck that can fill the graveyard up pretty quick, you can get this off a lot faster than some of the other turn skip cards, and it's not bad. The last time we saw this card reprinted was in Fate Reforged, so it's been many years. And this set, I think, is going to be modern legal. And I think but I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know, the breakdown of all of it, and I apologize if I'm a little scatterbrained all over the place here, but I think it's going to be modern legal. We'll have to wait and see. There's so much more information that I don't know about this set, because I've been so busy with Modern Horizons stuff, I haven't had a chance to do a deep dive into it. But either way, this card is modern legal because it is a reprint. Pretty strong card overall, though, and a pretty good reprint just from a value perspective to kind of have access to. I'm not going to try to pronounce these names, but there's an Ezio here, and this is obviously one of the main characters of some of the Assassin's Creed games. 1 in a black legendary human assassin with menace. Assassin spells you cast have free running black. You may cast a spell for its free running cost if you dealt combat damage to a player this turn with an assassin or a commander. Very similar to Prowl, which we saw for the Hunting Velociraptor out of the Jurassic World set. I don't know why they didn't just use Prowl here, but someone said something about the complications of Prowl being on other cards and me being able to cheese it out. I don't know. I know they like to put new keywords in sets. It's really not that big of a deal. I mean, it's a little confusing, but it's not. I don't think anyone's brain is going to be broken by that. Whenever Ezio deals combat damage to a player, you may pay Wooburg. If that player has 10 or less life, when you do, that player loses the game. It's cute, I guess. I don't think that's going to be something that comes up all that often. What I will say about it, though, is that it's cool that it does give you access to all 5 colors if it's your commander, and then you can cast a lot of assassins with free running, and there are some cards that are going to change the types, and you have things like Maskwood Nexus and whatnot that will do that too. So just sort of, a solid overall card, especially as a commander option coming out of here. Cleopatra, Exiled Pharaoh, another really interesting, it's just funny to see like a historical figure card, but this one does kind of feels like it fits in a little bit more too, in my opinion. 2 black-green, legendary creature, human noble. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target legendary creatures. When a legendary creature with counters on it dies, draw a card for each counter, you lose 2 life. The cool part about this is you can put the counters on your opponent's creatures, so like if you're going to get rid of your opponent's creatures with something, you put the counter on there, and then it dies, and then you draw a card, and if you're playing against an opponent who has maybe some kind of +1/+1 counter spam deck with legendary creatures, you can actually draw a lot of cards, and you only lose the 2 life. It's not 2 life for each counter. So there are some really interesting synergies with this, both in combo decks using it to buff your own stuff and get draw power, but also to, you know, maybe get rid of some of your opponent's stuff or be a good matchup against things that are very heavy with that card overall. Altair is a red, white, black legendary human assassin with first strike. When it attacks, you can exile up to 1 target assassin's creature from your graveyard with a memory counter on it. Then for each creature you own in exile with a memory counter, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it. Another really strong card. This directly combos well with the Animus, and it makes the Animus feel much stronger in general, because you can do a lot with this kind of for a little, especially because the Animus can exile any legendary creature. So this feels like a very, very strong commander option. It does have a good number of variants as well. I don't know if I showed this off to you guys prior, but there are this like Assassin's Creed showcase frame style, which looks really neat. I think there's some different foiling patterns for some, and there's also some are going to be like in different languages and whatnot. So that's kind of cool that they're doing something different with the product. I don't necessarily think that the set is going to be bad, although I do think there's a possibility it doesn't sell super well. Not because people don't like Assassin's Creed, but just because of the way the set is constructed. It probably would have been better suited to just be like Fallout, where you had the commander decks and a collector booster. Not really sure why they decided to go that route. Cover of Darkness is a reprint, but a very, very good one at about $45. 1 in a black. When enter battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type have fear. Obviously going to work really well with assassins, but it'll work with anything. But thematically, you can kind of see why they included it in here. It's also very, very nice looking. There is an extended art version. I don't see that there's any kind of borderless variant or alternate, but we haven't seen anywhere near all of the reveals yet. So, you know, more to come, and I'll make another follow-up video too for this. Ezio Blade of Vengeance is 3 blue black, and it is legendary creature human assassin with death touch. Whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Pretty good. Obviously seems like the most basic out the box commander option here, but not too bad. Conspiracy, another reprint, wasn't super expensive, but still, you choose a creature type, and then all creatures you control and creature spells you own, as well as creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So similar to Maskwood Nexus, you can kind of make everything assassins, which does allow you to kind of build the deck a little bit differently, if you have ways to make that work. And cards like this are always fun, just for that. I'm talking mostly about Commander here because I don't even know legality-wise where else this is going to show up. These cards as a whole, not this specific card. You can clearly see this card is legal in a good bit of formats, but yeah, I think it just, from that perspective, is kind of good to look at. The Spear of Leonidas is 2 in a red. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, choose 1. You can either give it double strike till end of turn, create a legendary 3/2 red horse creature token, or discard 2 cards, then draw 2 cards, and then it has equipped 2. So not the highest cost, but it does have, you know, a good bit of options there. You can, you know, you can't keep making the horse tokens unless you have something that ignores legendary rule, but, you know, it's a somewhat decent. I don't think it's, you know, crazy good, but I also think it's decent enough to consider in maybe more equipment-based decks. And then we've got Cassandra Eaglebearer, which is 1 red white legendary creature human assassin warrior with haste. When it enters battlefield, search your graveyard, hand, and library for a card named the Spear of Leonidas, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. Whenever a creature you control with the legendary equipment attached to it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So this makes, you know, the Spear of Leonidas a lot more useful if this is your commander. You play it, bring it out, and then you can start to kind of combo off there, and, you know, you give it double strike, you're drawing 2 cards when it deals damage. I have to say, the artwork on this one's really cool, and this is, again, just coming from someone who has no real experience with Assassin's Creed. I've played maybe an hour of the games when I was younger, but the design is really cool, and I think these look awesome. Even if they don't look like traditional Magic cards, there are regular variants, and this one, you know, this looks pretty much like this fits right in with the Magic lore. So I appreciate the fact that it doesn't feel, as some of the art on like some of the Doctor Who stuff and whatnot just wasn't for me. This feels like it fits a little bit more into the Magic universe, but I know there are going to be some people who are not super into it. And I can respect and understand both sides. So let me know what you guys think of these reveals so far. We will do another follow-up video. It'll be very much in the similar format, I think, just because it's a lot easier to go through and talk about a bulk number of cards in that regard. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.